Hi Cancer, this is your December 2017 horoscopes with me, Lada from Astrolada.com. For anyone who has their ascendant, sun or moon in Cancer. And sorry I'm shooting from the bedroom, but I'm a bit too big now and I'm heavy to sit even. I need to be laying down and it's hot outside, so the best position I can shoot from is from bed. And I might be a bit winded as well, faster than previous times, than previous pregnancy. So I hope you forgive me. Your Cancer, you're understanding your parental sign. Please don't judge me, because people like judge that sometimes we shoot from bedrooms and stuff, but the information is more important. And I want to deliver to you the best information that I can, no matter what state I am in. And it's such an important month because Saturn is changing signs and is going into your seventh house of relationship till the year 2000, part of 2020 as well. And I want to tell you what you expect, what you can expect, and what's the best strategy for you for relationships over the next 2.5 years. And some of you might start feeling it immediately from December. Others will feel it 2018, say the first decan cancers will feel the Saturn in the seventh house, basically the June-born cancers, and the first 3-4 days of July as well will feel Saturn in 2018. The others born later, from say the 3rd, 4th of July till the 14th, will feel it 2019, or till the 15th, 16th, and the last 7-8 days born cancers will feel it the last part. So, but still I want to prepare you so you can come back to that video over the next 2 years, 2.5 years, and you make sense, and you'll be like, aha, that's why things have been happening like that. And Saturn is not the easiest planet to navigate, so I want to focus a bit on the more difficult side of it, so you're prepared, so you know what to expect. Don't judge me, don't say, oh, only bad news for Cancer, because there is good news as well. Saturn in the seventh house can be amazing for some things, So I'll tell you what are the best strategies, what to expect, and how to deal with that. So if you happen to have Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, this is such pivotal and important information for you guys. Saturn is changing sign. And by the way, I'll give you my perspective, but if you want to hear someone who was an astrologer 30 years ago when Saturn was in Capricorn and saw thousands of clients and saw how Saturn in Capricorn affected them personally, he'll speak what you can expect personally in your life from Saturn in Capricorn. This is Robert Phoenix, an astrologer with 30+ years of experience, much more advanced, obviously, than me, with a very different perspective. So, and there's 30% of that webinar. It's in December. Even if you can't make it live, guys, the recording is there. And if you get it by the 10th of December, you get it only for $29. He's a world-known astrologer. If you've heard even one podcast of him, you get addicted. I got hooked on him. I can't stop listening to him. He's such an outstanding astrologer. So he'll be doing personal predictions. So you see how Saturn will personally affect you on Astrolada for $29 webinar. And also, Saturn in Capricorn is about rediscovering ancient things. So in December, we're making a webinar on ancient astrology, Babylonian astrology, with the world-leading Babylonian astrologer. And Babylonian, Hellenistic, and Egyptian astrology will be looking, it's 14 hours webinar. It's over a whole weekend. You don't need to know any astrology. We're starting from the foundation, the 12 signs, the constellations. Ancient astrology is based on constellations. So we're going to look at each degree of the 360 degrees. We're going to spend 14 hours looking at each degree, what it means. So even if you have no notion of astrology, but we'll get you a chart as well. We generate your ancient astrology, actual constellation chart. And you'll see, oh, the constellation of the Dolphin is on my ascendant, so I'm a swimmer. Or the constellation of Persephone is on the midheaven, so I was raped, whatever. I'm giving extreme cases, but, or the constellation of Fame is on, each constellation, each degree has a specific meaning bound to the 12, to the stars, to the specific fixed stars. And we'll be reading directly from an ancient Greek text, which has not been translated. This information is nowhere to be seen. And it's not only the 12 constellations, it's all the other important constellations around what it means if when you were born, where they were, and which constellation is your constellation. For example, if you have the constellation of the Crow, you know, you can it can mean one thing, or you can have a constellation connected with Athena Pallas, and you can be a super intelligent, for example, and or you can have constellation of spirituality, or constellation of there's constellations of murder as well. So we can see, without knowing any aspects or whatever, you can see astrologically, you know, if you have this anywhere in your horoscope, all those degrees, all those projected constellations, what it means for you. And it's only $180. That's information, as I said, it's not translated yet. We're reading directly from an ancient Greek text. Okay, with room and color. So let's look at Cancer 2017 December. The first part is about Saturn in Capricorn. The second part will be about specifically December. So be patient, Cancers. You'll hear specific predictions for the month as well. But Saturn in Capricorn is such a pivotal turning point for you, because when Saturn transits an angle from a sign, it strongly activates you and creates big changes in the life of a person. And for you, it comes through relationships in some way. So what is the nature of Saturn? And Saturn acts super like itself in Capricorn, because Capricorn is its sign. So Saturn will be 3 times more powerful than other times, but it also will have 3 times better results as well, if you're doing the right things. If you're doing the right things, it can give you 3 times more successful, loyal, long-lasting, very committed relationship. It can lead to taking the next commitment in a relationship. But if you're not following its dictates, or if something has, Saturn is the father time. If something has run out of time or karma in your life, it will be removed. And that's about relationships. So people dread when Saturn enters the 7th house, but actually in ancient astrology, this is the house where Saturn exalts, because being realistic about your relationships and the people around you is the best thing Saturn can do. So Saturn will remove people that are no longer productive in your life. Saturn will, if you're, I had a client, she was wondering, oh, I want to be with this guy, but I'm in love with that. I'm in love with 2 guys. Which one should they be? I keep going between one and the other. Saturn entered the 7th house. I told her, you know, neither of them. You know, Saturn entering the 7th house, it gives you realistic understanding of who, and it removes from your life people that are no longer necessary. And not only romantic partners, this is marriage partners, this is business partners. Only the real, valid, solid people stay in your life. Don't think you'll be some loner, not at all. But you'd have a much more serious approach to relationships, much more practical, realistic, organized. Delusions, bubbles of delusions in regards to your relationships will be burst. For example, you might discover that the business partner you've had for some time has been doing something behind the scenes, and it comes to crystallize now. So you remove that partner. So the universe saves you. Saturn saves you. Saturn helps you there in that case. You know, yes, it's disruptive. You might have to remove a business partner or remove a contract that is no longer valid, that has played out its role in your life, but it's for the better, you know, for the better of both people. Or if there is a relationship that, if you're already in a relationship, actually it can recommit and deepen, but through some extra responsibility. For example, Saturn can bring the responsibility of property together, taking on some more burdensome duties together with a partner. Maybe having to work on some project together, or maybe a child. It might come through a child, for example. It might come through some business project together that you do by taking on property or whatever. But Saturn is about materialistic commitment and materialistic manifestations. So the only way for a relationship to take next step of commitment is by committing to something more materialistic as a goal, and working on some goal together or something like that. So relationships can deepen. The commitment can deepen, can become more loyal if they're the right relationship, and if you're willing to take extra responsibilities. And it can feel like some burden has come on your relationship. It's like fun together as you used to have, to mature and grow up in that relationship. If your relationship have sex occasionally and to and get drunk together and share the easy moments, well, now will come a more difficult moment in that relationship, or in the both of your lives. So you need to become more sober, more responsible, more mature, and to take more grown-up approach to it. And if both sides don't want to do that, then these relationships will be removed, because only committed, loyal, and mature relationships can stay in your life, where both people have long-lasting intentions towards each other and are willing to take extra responsibilities with each other, or are willing to stay together through a period of less fun, or through a period of less, let's say, of more responsibilities of some sort. It doesn't mean you're gonna be suffering and hating your partner, or your relationship will be tested because there's no love. It's not. This is such extreme manifestation. It can mean that, for example, your partner might have to work extra hard, say they don't have free time because they have a lot of duties and responsibilities, and that can put some pressure on the relationship and a test. And only if you're serious towards that relationship, only then you can keep it, you know. Or there might be some demands that come to you from your partner, because Saturn is kind of a hard taskmaster that requires, that demands, that puts pressure. So it might be a business partner that is putting pressure on you, someone that is close in your environment. It's not necessarily marriage partner. It might be business partner, someone you work with, someone that is in your everyday, that you communicate on a one-to-one level. But our partner, for example, can, like when Saturn was in the 7th house from my sun sign, my partner was pushing me to make my own business. I only did it because I had pressure from outside, from a partner, and I was like resentful at those moments. And he was like, he would write to me tables what I have to do, wake up, call those people, call 10 spas to offer your services there, do 2-3 videos, you know. Like, oh, I don't want to work, you know, I don't want to, I'm not used to that, I don't want to do it, but I follow that routine no matter how much I resist it, and there you go, you know. So even if you receive pressure from partners, this will be because they're, you know, they want to structure, organize your life. They can be like a good taskmaster on you, and it not necessarily have to be a marriage partner. It can be just someone at your work that is pushing you, that is demanding more from you. It might be a business partner, again, as I said. Also, contracts and agreements of any sort might take longer, or even getting married can take longer. You might have a plan, oh, I want to get married in 3 months, and Saturn is in your 7th house. Well, you might be resisting. Either you might be emotionally resisting the marriage because Saturn slows things down, or there might be outer circumstances that make you delay the marriage, or make you delay the completion of a contract. So it might be marriage, or it might be, say, you want to sign some contract with someone for something, you know. It might be business deal, business negotiations, business deals acted and prolonged when Saturn is in the 7th house. They require extra efforts, more attention to detail, more going through bureaucratic loopholes, more going through the word of letter, the law of letter, the letter of war, whatever, you know, doing it lawfully, gradually, maybe having to examine a few over until you sign up. So be prepared for certain delays when it comes to business deals, when it comes to negotiations, when it comes to partnerships of any sort. But again, as I said, established relationships already, they can take further commitment. New relationships might happen with older people, for example. Saturn rules older people, people with more authority, maybe with your boss. So new relationships with someone who is more experienced, maybe someone with higher social status. You know, this is Saturn, someone who's worked harder. Often people just end up being with someone who is 7 years or more older than them, or there's some age difference. Usually all of them, it might be 7 years younger or something, like age difference when Saturn is in the 7th house. And relationships that are not necessary, or that have played their role, that are not fully committed, they're removed from your life. That's the painful thing. If you've been wondering, oh, should I stay in that relationship, should I not? Well, Saturn goes into your 7th house, You either have to commit further by having a child, or by getting some extra responsibility, or this relationship will be removed from your life, you know. So be prepared for such things. And again, Saturn being in its own sign, it's ancient, there is a rule. Yes, Saturn always creates delays and difficulties and tests, but planet in its own sign always gives, always manifests through that house. So this will be the time for many Cancers that they finally find a long-lasting partner, that they finally find security in a partner, that they finally find a long-lasting business partner or personal partner of some sort, you know. It might entail in the process leaving one partner to be with another, or kind of some kind of a test of the relationship so it can further recommit deeper, you know, and the need to take extra responsibilities. But you're gonna get there, guys, because Saturn in Capricorn manifests materially. And it can be very productive time for business partnerships, but again, they take longer and they require like a lot of attention to detail and attending to the letter, and not being, you know, irresponsible, not moving too fast. So there can be some frustrations that things are moving a bit slower than you expect, but this is only because Saturn wants to frame, freeze whatever area of your life it's passing, so you can examine it more in depth and you can understand the motivations of others and yours in relationships. So it's kind of like things in your relationship start slowing down, so you can, you know, because when it's a movie, it's kind of things happen to you. You don't realize why you act like that, what happens. But when everything slows down, it's like this happens when, if you smoke marijuana, like praise frame a little, you know, you start really analyzing it, seeing patterns there and seeing structures and why, you know, you're acting like that, or why the partner's acting like that, why your relationships are like that overall, and gives you a deeper understanding, more philosophical. Saturn is a deep philosophical figure that wants to, you know, wants you to mature, to see realistic, to see what's really happening. Because maybe you were so rushing in your life with relationships in your everyday life, you didn't have time to slow down to examine your relationships and to realize that actually your partner is not happy, or that you're not happy, or maybe that you've been neglecting something in the relationship. So now Saturn slowing down things there allows you to really kind of do due diligence to your relationships, and kind of a cleanup and a systemization and streamlining of your relationships. So this is what you can expect, guys. You know, hope that was kind of hopeful, not negative. Don't feel scared, you know. And of course, as I said, it's people will experience this. You feel more pressure if you're the June born Cancers in 2018 from such developments, you know, the first decan till the first 2-3 days of July, and then 2019 is the second decan. All right, and now let's see specifically in December. Well, you have Mercury retrograde, Cancers, in your 6th house of work. So you will be redoing some projects most of December. Maybe some old work responsibility might come to you, something that you buried underneath, and maybe something that some responsibility, something you have to fix in the house, you buried, you didn't do it, can come back and you have to fix it now. Something that, some duty or responsibility in your office or your work that you didn't, just wanted to show you quickly. I don't know if you see the ocean. Oh, Cancers. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. And then there on the grass is my baby sleeping somewhere. If you can see him. What a mother I am. My baby's on the grass downstairs. But anyway, so some kind of a old responsibility or duty can come to you that you haven't finished, that you have to complete, some office duty, responsibility, administrative duty, responsibilities. Maybe you're working on some project that you have to put the final touches to. It might be a bit frustrating because you have to change your plan of game. There might be some frustrations with workmates and people in your work environment, and some delays. The project that is delayed and has to be perfected, that has some problems that you've omitted that you have to fix there. And on another level, the 6th house is also your health. Some health issues connected to the past that you have not addressed might resurface in some way, or health issues become more apparent to you, so you can re-examine and reinvestigate. Mercury is about making a deeper research, you know, in regards to your health, in regards to your diet, maybe change something in your plans. and in your daily routines throughout that period. And hopefully by January, you can have, you can find a better solution for it. And if you're given a diagnosis while Mercury is retrograde in your 6th house, it might not be the right one. You might have to go again and get a new diagnosis. But if it's a second diagnosis or third one you're getting, now it might be the right one when Mercury is retrograde. So it might be time to go back for another diagnosis, But if it's a first diagnosis, you might have to redo it again. It's something might not be right exactly there. So yeah, this is how things look in December. Plus you're going to have Mars from the 10th of December in your 5th house, Cancers, till almost the end of January. This happens once every 2.5 years that Mars goes in your 5th house. Well, that's great. Mars in the 5th house loves to be there because it energizes you in a positive way. It makes you more excited about having fun and being super house about having fun. Mars allows you to take initiative in having fun, and that's the festive season, and also enjoying sports more. Mars transit in the 5th house is the only times I ever enjoy sports, when like I have to wait 2.5 years every year for Mars in my 5th house to pick up some sport, and I don't stick with it usually, but these are the times I really enjoy it, so that can be fun. Also, it can become quite active time for your for activities with your children. In the negative case scenario, your children might be a little bit more rambunctious, a little bit more of a handful, because Mars is this kind of a, quite energetic planet. And if the energy of a child is not channeled in something productive, he might be up to no good, doing trouble or just being more restless. But another level, you can make a lot of activities with your children as well. Plus, you can pursue creative activities much more enthusiastically. Creative activities and activities that give you fun will thrive. Parties and stuff like that, theater, cinema, going dancing, romantic dates, you pursue them actively. And actually, even December and big part of January, Mars is joined with Jupiter in your 5th house, which is the yoga for wealth. So some kind of a benefit and financial wealth even can come to you through some event that's connected to having fun, some creative event, something to do with party organizing, with planning, with creativity, with performance of some sort, activities with children as well. So thank you so much, Cancer. I hope that was helpful for you. I hope I prepared you for Saturn in your 7th house. And I hope this allows you can keep coming back to that video over the next 1 or 2 years to consult and to see how things are developing, and to remember some of the strategies that I told you about Saturn in the 7th house, what is the best strategy. So it gives you clarity and and to be more prepared, definitely. So thank you so much, and I will see you next month.